Let's go in broadcast.
We can start.
SIT Masters Insight 2021 will start on time, 10 a.m. Central European Time. Please stand by. Please stand by. We will start our event in 7 minutes. The countdown is on. We start our webinar in 5 minutes. Please stay by. We are nearly there. We're going to start our webinar in 3 minutes. Please stay tuned and stay with us. It's only going to be a few more minutes. SIT Masters Insight 2021 will start soon in less than a minute. Please stand by. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SIT Masters Insight 2021. My name is Philip and I'm your host today. It's great to see that so many people from all around the world are joining us for this 1-hour webinar on SIT's Master's Program in Computer Science and Software Engineering. Today in this webinar, you will learn everything about this specific Master's Program from our professor, but you will also learn how to successfully apply to this program and about the fee structure and scholarship. And you will hear from two of our students how student life and career opportunities are looking like if you're going to take this opportunity and study at SIT in Schaffhausen. Last but not least, we have a very special guest for you here today who is going to talk about one part of this application of software engineering in autonomous racing. What you see here is our great list of speakers today. We have our Professor Bertrand Meyer, who is also the provost of SIT. We have Olga Konyenko, who is our head of student recruitment. As mentioned, our special guest today, Ilya Shimchik from Acronis SIT Autonomous Team Racing, and our two students, Daria and Arpita, who are talking about their experience. But it's not only input from our side. At the very end, there is a slot for Q&A where you can ask your questions. And please, independent, if you're joining us directly via Zoom or live stream on YouTube or Facebook, please forward us your questions you have. We're going to answer all of them, either in writing or in the Q&A session, where you also have the opportunity to unmute yourself and ask live a question to the people we have here today talking about SIT's program. With this, I would like to start with our first speaker and first input session. And it's my pleasure to welcome Bertrand Meyer here today with us. He's going to talk about the Computer Science and Software Engineering Master's Program of SIT. As you can see, he's the provost of SIT and the chair of software engineering at the same academic institution, SIT. Bertrand, it's a great pleasure that you're joining us today. I'm looking forward to your input and hand over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Philip. It's a great pleasure to be here, to be able to introduce our program to our potential new students. I welcome everyone who has joined us from all over the world. We are working today with excellent students, with a really great breed of students for the academic year 2020-2021, and I look forward to welcoming some of you as part of another brilliant class of students next year. So I'm going to talk briefly about what makes our program unique and to try to help you decide whether it's good for you. It's an exciting program. It's quite unique in its form. There's nothing quite like it. I have a long experience of working with various universities and companies, and I've never seen a program such as the one that we're offering. It's in computer science and software engineering, also including a really strong focus on management and leadership. So these are the 7 unique aspects of this program. A Master of Computer Science and Software Engineering. It's a program that doesn't just prepare software developers, as many others do, but it prepares students for key leadership positions. I'll come to this point shortly. It's focused on people, and it takes advantage of a rich network that SIT has to research and business leaders worldwide. And I will be introducing some of these people shortly. Its teaching model is quite innovative. It's agile teaching, leading edge teaching using distributed learning with or without the COVID crisis with us, and using flip learning, that is to say, mode of learning where you're not just the passive recipients of our great teaching, but you're also actively participating in it and influencing the way we teach through your own personality and your own experience. We have a whole set of research and industry partnerships, which I will describe in a few moments. So this is not just a theoretical program in which you learn all the great concepts of computer science and software engineering, although it's that too, but it's also very practically oriented, very much hands-on, and gives you access to a unique network of our partners in research and in industry worldwide. It offers to select the students the possibility of a double degree with our great partners to top 10 universities in the top rankings worldwide in computer science and other fields. One is Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh in the US, and the other one is National University of Singapore. And we are privileged to have excellent partnerships with both of them, their computer science and other departments. And finally, we offer a possibility of scholarships about which my colleague Olga Kornienko will talk more later. Next slide, please, Philip. So what are we aiming at? Well, we are aiming at developing a unique set of skills in our students, that is to say new, in order to train digital leaders. Next. So it's not just a computer science program. It's not just a software engineering program. It's not just a leadership program. It's not just a management program. It's all of that blended together. So we're emphasizing technical skills, management skills, and leadership skills, not separately, of course, but all blended together. Next slide, please. What kind of positions are we training you for? Well, it's key technical leadership positions, which we will now explain. So we have three main points of focus. It's not three different tracks. It's a single track, but with three different areas which are constantly interwoven, blended together. A technical track focusing on technical skills in computer science and software engineering, a management track, and a leadership track. And again, I'm using this word track, but these are more like focuses and areas of emphasis, and the courses are constantly interwoven. Let me describe some of the courses. On the technical track, we have a quality engineering course taught by my colleague Mauro Pezze, who is one of the world experts in testing. And the focus of the course is how to build high quality software systems that are correct and reliable, using a variety of advanced techniques from testing to formal verification. The next slide, the next course on the list, sorry, not the next slide, the next course on the list is my course. So I'm a little bit partial, I'm a little bit biased in its favor. It's called Software Construction, Software Architecture, and Software Engineering. And it's a kind of concentrate of the best techniques at the level of programming, software construction, at the level of design, software architecture, and at the level of project organization, management, and measurement, software engineering. So it's a course that blends together topics from these three areas, and it's a kind of microcosm of the most advanced techniques that have been developed in software construction, architecture, and engineering over the past decades. There's a course on cyber protection. Of course, security is a key concern for today's enterprises, and security has grown into a full-fledged field, which is addressed by cyber protection. There's a course on data science. Companies today have learned that in order to survive, they must have a clear understanding of their market, but not just a qualitative understanding. They need to have a set of metrics and a fully quantitative approach and understanding of their markets. So these are advanced techniques of data science, which the corresponding course goes over. Architectural strategy is another course which has both technical aspects and some leadership and management aspects. Dynamic analysis and deep learning are, of course, fundamental techniques which have particularly evolved in the last decade. They have, I think it's not an exaggeration to say, revolutionized many industries and are continuing to provide a big breakthrough in many different areas of human and corporate activity. So we have a deep course on deep learning, a course on system protection, a course on quantum informatics, which is typical of the multidisciplinary approach of SIT. We are privileged to have experts in computer science and software engineering, but also in physics and in particular quantum technologies. And this quantum informatics course is one of the areas where all these disciplines meet together and help each other in this exciting new set of developments of quantum-based computing. And programmatic marketing is another course in this technical part of the program. In the management part of the program, the courses include product vision, strategy, innovation, and marketing, how to be a leader in your future company, who helps set the strategy with the necessary mix of technical savviness and management understanding and wisdom. We have a course on product design, portfolio management, and analytics. Now, it's not just the issue of building great software or building great product software or not. It's also making sure that there is a holistic approach to managing the development of such a product from inception to end. And transformational change management. It is said that the only constant in change, this is absolutely true in companies and in business these days, and change has to be accepted, but it also has to be managed properly, and this is the topic of this particular course. On the leadership track, finally, the courses include organizational behavior in industrial organizational psychology, so techniques that carry over from the fields of psychology, in particular industrial psychology, applied to high-tech product development. Agile leadership and strategic management, again, a multidisciplinary course taking advantage of concepts from software engineering, which is where agile methods originated, and management science. Customer-centric mindset, we're not just nerds focused on our products and on our code, but we need to understand what our customers need. So how do we implement a customer-centric mindset in a company and make the company able to respond very quickly in an agile fashion to the needs, to the changing needs of the market? And finally, entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship. We expect that some of you will not just work for a company as employees, but will have ideas either to start new divisions, new businesses within a company, or to go out in the field, take the big risk, take the big jump, and start their own companies, where we are fortunate to have in our network people who have created successful companies, often from scratch, and often bringing them to considerable heights, and they will share some of their insights. So these are some of the courses that we are offering in our program. Next. I mentioned some of our entrepreneurial partners. They are only some of the people in our vast network of friends and colleagues, which appears on the next slide, some of whom appear in the next slide. So I'm not going to talk in detail about all of them because that would take a long time. They each have such a rich and fascinating personal story that it would really take this entire presentation just to scratch the surface. Let me mention just a few of these people who are here to accompany SIT in its growth and advise us throughout. Starting, of course, with Sergei Belausov, who is the founder of SIT. He is a Singaporean citizen coming out originally of Russia, and he is famous in particular for being a serial entrepreneur, having started many successful companies, one of the most successful of which being Acronis, who is based in both Singapore and Schaffhausen, as SIT is in Schaffhausen, which he brought from virtually nothing in a few years to being one of the first Swiss unicorns, that is to say $1 billion company. So Sergei had the vision of SIT. It's part of his contribution to the world, and he is advising us at every step through the way. To take another example, at the bottom right of the slide, you have Konstantin Novoselov, who is, I believe, the youngest Nobel Prize in physics ever for his discovery of graphene. He's a brilliant scientist with a very diverse set of interests, and he is the chairman of our strategic advisory board and continues to alert us to new possibilities in science and technology. To give just one more example, another great physicist is Arthur Eckert, who is a professor of quantum physics at the University of Oxford, one of the innovators in quantum technology and quantum computing, and who is helping us advance in these areas. In a completely different field of activity, but at an equally high level of excellence, let me mention, among others, Bruce Score, who is on the right, who is one of the leaders in agile project management and in general in helping companies develop a successful software strategies. So they are all at the same level, each in his particular chosen field of excellence. What counts for us is not the area, because there are lessons to be learned from many walks of life. It's that all of these people who help us and who, for the most part, are members of our strategic advisory board, they help us identify opportunities before others identify them, and of course make you, the students, benefit from their knowledge and wisdom. Next. What about our teaching? Well, you know, COVID has taken the world by surprise, and we were, of course, taken by surprise like everyone else, but it turns out that the model that we had developed made us much more ready for the current crisis than many other institutions were. And it also means that our model is solid because, of course, we're all expecting the exit from this strange period that we're living through, but we're not dependent on any particular moment for this exit to happen. We are ready from a world as it is now, or for the world that will come back hopefully in a few months from now. We have developed a special style of teaching, which we call Agile Flip Blended Learning, which takes advantage of the best that on-site teaching, when available, has to provide, and online technologies as well. So on-site teaching, when available, will be combined with remote working teams to learn from hands-on experience, in particular from companies in our partner network. We provide direct experience with industrial projects. It's not just sitting at a desk and answering questions and listening to classes. We have top academic instructors, both permanent faculty at SIT and colleagues from the top universities in Switzerland and elsewhere. We provide, on top of the course program, you know, I gave you earlier the course program, but it's not just courses. We like to improvise. We like to organize supplementary sessions which have not been planned. We are fortunate to rely on this network of 1 billion people worldwide, some of whom I've mentioned. So we provide seminars, a seminar here, an interview there with a world leader. And it's not just us delivering instruction to you, it's also you talking back to us, so to speak. Our teaching is personalized. We take your personalities into account. And in particular, we are building a system called Alimira, which will include the best of electronic-based education and computer-based education, and personalized instruction based on people's preferences and abilities, taking advantage of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Next. What about our partners? So I introduced some of the key people in our network, but in particular, we have access to world-leading research centers. Next slide. And in our own activity, SIT is focused at the moment on 3 core areas: CSSE, computer science and software engineering; QTAM, quantum technologies and advanced materials; and TTE, tech transformation and entrepreneurship. These are the 3 areas that we have identified as being the key ones for the benefit of view of students and for the growth of SIT and for our contribution to society in general. So let me start with computer science and software engineering. Here we have 4 principal points of focus: cybersecurity and information integrity. I don't think it's needed to emphasize how much security is critical to the good functioning and progress of today's society, which is so fundamentally tied to computers and software, but also subject to many threats. Then artificial intelligence and machine learning, which is perhaps the area of computer science that has grown in a most spectacular way in the past decade or 2, having already made tremendous contributions to the way we take advantage of computing power to advance the goals of society. And then my field, software engineering, which is particularly focused on how to build large, reliable, safe software systems with techniques of verification, with techniques of project management. So it also has some leadership components as well. And finally, robotics and autonomous vehicles. And here I will not say very much because you have a great talk by, I'm sure it will be a great talk by Ilya Shimchik, who is the head of SIT Autonomous, coming up in a few minutes. Then quantum technologies and advanced materials. These are 2 of the most exciting areas in physics today, but they're not just areas in physics. They are areas which have the most promise for multidisciplinary cooperation. So when you see these 3 areas, CSSE, QTAM, and TTE, don't see them as departments as in a traditional university. They are more than that. They're also opportunities for people, experts from these various fields, and for students, of course, to cooperate. So it's not that you belong to one department and are going to be there for the entire duration of your studies. You will move around and benefit from the ability to learn from the experts in those areas. So QTAM is focused both on quantum technologies, which have great potentials in particular for computing, and on advanced materials, starting, of course, with graphene, which I mentioned earlier. But there are many more to come, and many materials that still remain to be discovered or invented. And finally, we're not just focused on technology per se, but we are very much into the application of technology to the needs of society. So you can see the areas in TTE: digital health, new generation business management, say digital business, digital law, digital sports, digital learning, digital arts. Digital learning is a particular interest of ours with all the efforts that I mentioned earlier of Ademira, this enterprise that we're building to provide computer-supported instruction in novel ways to the world. So these are the 3 areas, and they are very much complementary. Next slide. We're not just an academic institution. We are, of course, an academic institution, but not only, we're very much in gear with the needs and the practice of industry. And this is not just during the master program, but also after the master program. Next slide. So in particular, during the program, we have the following elements. Something which is pretty unique to SIT, certainly in software engineering, is the capstone project. What is the capstone project? It's a group project, so it's also a great opportunity to learn to work in teams, which is how things happen in industry. It's not a lone genius, it's always teamwork, and you need to be able to work with others with their pluses and minuses. Hopefully mostly pluses in the case of SIT students. The capstone project is not just one course. It's common to have, for example, software courses and software projects in software engineering courses, but it's more than that. It's not just a semester. If you have a project during one semester, what is it? 60 hours, 70 hours of work at most. You don't do very much during that time. The capstone project extends over several semesters, 3 or 4 semesters, and is continued with the same instructors over these semesters, and it's an ability to build something serious, something substantial while learning. It's a really rare experience in a university setting, and we are very intent on providing this. We have possibilities of summer internships in our partner companies. Every master, of course, will include a master thesis. Every master at SIT, at least, will include a master thesis, which can be in research. It can be in industry in one of our partners, but it can also be in a startup company. We have this solution of a startup thesis, providing in the last 2 cases company experience. Even a research master can also be done in a company. We have access to industry leaders, starting with Sergei Belausov, many others as well, providing seminars and talks. And of course, this opens the way to many career opportunities with startups and with our industrial partners. Next slide. Well, this also brings me to the kind of career we are preparing you for. Before we started SIT, and while we were starting SIT, we talked a lot to the many people in our network worldwide, and they told us the same basic story, which is that they're desperately searching for a kind of skill that they do not find in a market that they have a lot of trouble finding among experienced people, and which the universities do not train, do not provide. It's people who are not just technically savvy, but they have to be technically competent. They're not just management savvy, but they have to be management oriented. They must have both management, technical skills, and leadership skills. And companies are just desperate for that kind of people who can have a great career path. So it's not just software developers. At the other end of the spectrum, it's not just managers. It's people who have all of these abilities and are able to blend them together and make their technical skills support their management skills, and the other way around. So some of these positions still remain to be defined. They're going to be created in the coming years, but there are a number which we already know. Chief architect, the person who is going to drive the technology delivery across the organization. Chief product officer, chief program officer, chief development officer, a strategic leader, a chief security officer. Security is such a concern, such often, unfortunately, such a nightmare for companies, that they need someone with a holistic, systemic view of things to ensure that security is taken into account at every step of the company's technology, organization, and processes. So these and others yet to be invented are some of the careers for which we are preparing you. Next slide. I mentioned earlier the double degree program. In fact, it's one of 3 tracks that we offer to our students, described on the next slide. So the basics are common to all 3 tracks, and I mentioned that we have personalized instruction, so we can adapt the scheme to every student. But basically, we have 3 modes of studying at SIT: classic, fastline, and double degree. So the classic one is a 4-semester, 2-year program, which for those of you who are familiar with the European system falls into the Bologna, so-called Bologna system of 120 ECTS. ECTS means European Credit Transfer System, so it's a unit of study in the European system. And so the classic program includes everything over 4 semesters. Some students may be willing to work harder and faster in order to complete in 3 semesters plus summer study. This is in particular a program which is attractive to companies that want to send an employee, typically an engineer or a beginning manager, to obtain complementary education, but of course, the shorter, the better from the company's viewpoint. So we offer this in 3 semesters, with the big difference being that the thesis is conducted in a more compact form, particularly over the summer. And then for selected students, we offer, as mentioned, the possibility of a second year abroad, currently at either Carnegie Mellon University in the US or National University of Singapore. And then there is also some work in the summer, but essentially the second year is spent in one of these partner universities to take their program. And in one case, it's a computing program. In the other hand, in the other case, it is a product management master program. Next slide.
Thank you, Bertrand.
So, yeah, thank you very much, Philippe, for the opportunity to present this program. And of course, as Philippe mentioned earlier, I, like my colleagues, are available to answer any questions you may have.
I have already seen that we have a few questions coming in for you, Bertrand. Thanks a lot again for sharing this overview. I think it was really helpful to understand what SIT's master's program on computer science and software engineering is all about. But now I think we also move to a very important topic for our participants here who are joining us today in this webinar, which is admission fees and scholarship. And Olga Konienko, who is our head of student acquisition, is talking about this for a few minutes to give you a good understanding how you can apply if you're interested in our program. Olga, stage is yours.
Yeah, hello everyone, nice to see you all. Thanks, Philippe. Thank you, Bertrand, for presenting the program. Let me tell how to apply to our master's program in computer science and software engineering. There are 5 simple steps how to do this. On this slide, you can see them shortly. This is registration, submitting your application, going for the test and completing test, programming test, interviews, and then you will receive results. Please have a look on the deadlines. The deadline for non-European applicants is April 30, and for Swiss and European applicants, August 31st. So, please, next slide, and I will tell you a little bit more about all these steps. The first step is registration, that you need to apply and to register to our admissions portal. You can do it through the sit.org website, and in this case you will get a unique link for the admissions portal. When you are in, I suggest you to start the chat with our admission manager there, and our managers can help you with all the questions you will have during submitting your application. What you need to do there? You need to fill out information about yourself. You need to upload all the needed supporting documents. Documents are transcript and diploma, motivational letter, recommendation letter, CV, English certificate if available, your passport and photo. Passport or ID. So the next, you need to pay non-refundable application fee of 35 Swiss francs and then submit your application. As soon as we review that your application is full, completed, you provided all the needed information and uploaded all the supporting documents, we will send the link to the programming test. So the test is like simple one. The link for the programming test will be available for 7 days, and test takes for 4 hours as soon as you will start it. Before starting the test, you will have one task to check for you how the environment, this programming environment works. After this stage, when you complete the test, all your applications will be sent for the admission committee and the faculty review. At this stage, please note your application can be already rejected. Depends on the documents you provided and the results of the tests. If everything is okay and we're considering your application, admission manager will communicate with you and will invite for you to the interviews. There are several interviews which can take place. The first one is with SIT faculty, and the second one for those who will apply for scholarships with the business partner representative. And after interview, we are waiting for the admission committee final decision, and the results will be sent in successful positive story. If you admit it, you will get an offer with the results. I want to highlight that application for scholarships for double degree will be opened during the first semester. The same for fast track. If you see right now that you're interested in the fast track, applications for fast track will be accepted during the first semester. Yeah, that's it. I wish you good luck, and I recommend you to start the chat option with the admission manager. And one more topic I want to highlight is the fees and scholarship. What are our fees for master program? This is 5,000 Swiss francs per semester for non-Swiss residents and 2,500 Swiss francs per semester for Swiss residents. As I already mentioned, there is application fee of 35 francs, which is non-refundable. We have good numbers of scholarship as well. There are three options of scholarship. This is full scholarship, which covers both tuition and living costs. It will be renewed based on the academic achievements after each semester. The second scholarship is tuition waiver only. So in this case, you will be provided with tuition waiver, and if you want to study at Switzerland in Schaffhausen, so you will need to cover your living cost by yourself. And the third option of scholarship is double degree scholarship. If you will be accepted for a double degree with one of our partner university schools of computing of National University in Singapore or Carnegie Mellon University, you will be provided for scholarship as well. In this case, one more time, I highlight that this scholarship will be available and your application will be accepted just during the first semester. Like first semester for everyone, for all the tracks, fast track, classic track, and double degree track is the same. I think that's it. Good luck, and we're waiting for your applications.
Thank you, Olga, for your insights here. And I think indeed students or applicants should have now all the information to just sit down on the computer and get it started with her and his applications respectively. It's my great pleasure now to introduce our special guest we have invited to this webinar today, which is Ilya Shimczyk. Ilya is actually the team principal of Ocronis SIT Autonomous, who is taking part as a team in the world's first racing series, combining human and artificial intelligence. Very amazing story. He's going to tell us and about his experience being part of that team. Ilya, stage is yours. Thanks again for being here with us today.
Thank you, Philip, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. And first of all, thank you for the opportunity to talk about our project here and introduce what opportunities is opening to SIT students and how we can collaborate together. So first of all, let me describe what we are doing. So what's RoboRace? We are part of competition called RoboRace, and RoboRace is a competition between intelligence, artificial intelligence, and competition of self-driving cars running on one track. And goal of our team of participating in RoboRace is not only to make entertainment for our audience, also win, but also to develop the self-driving technology and advance the self-driving technology and come up with advanced AI car safety system, which we can transfer from racing environment to the real world environment. And you can think by this example that just imagine that at some emergency situation, your car will behave autonomously as not as a usual average driver, but it will act autonomously as a professional racing driver, and you will avoid collisions, avoid accident, and it may save your life. So can we move to the next slide? Here is a short video just to tell you the scale of the car. So it's real car, because that's one of the common questions, is it like real car, real size, or like scaled one? So it's real car. It's racing car. And as you see, it has a lot of sensors. It has cameras, lidars, radars, GPS sensors, IMU. So that's like it's the eyes of the car, which we need to understand what the environment is around the car, and then based on this environment situation, we need to control the car. Can we go to the next slide? Yeah, rob race. So rob race, as I said, it's competition of autonomous driving car, and it provides equal opportunities for each team which participates in rob race. It provides real-sized car to each team, and team responsible only for developing of the software of this car. So we are not right now competing or in mechanical engineering. We are competing in software engineering, and the best algorithms, the best team which develops the best algorithms will win. And the goal of this competition, as I said, is not only to advance, to compete and to compete with other team and entertain the people, but also to develop the technology which is relevant to the real cars. And next slide. And one of the concepts introduced in rob race is metaverse. And metaverse combines virtual reality with the real world. So we have real track, we have real car, but we have augmented reality added to the real world, and we have virtual obstacles. We have virtual car, which we call ghost car, with which we need to compete, and also we have virtual collectible obstacles, collectibles. So when we will collect this collectible object, then we'll reduce our lap time. So there's interesting rules in this competition, and let's go to the next slide, and I will tell you a bit more about the future of rob race. So right now, currently, it's the very beginning. We have such called season beta, and we are participating in rob race as a team at this season beta. And the goal of season beta is to develop the technology. But later in the next season, the rob race will announce another type of car and another type of racing, including gravel racing and including road relevant racing in the city environment. So stay tuned, and later you'll see the next season and interesting competition. Next slide.
What does the future look like?
Yeah, here's a video describing, showing you what's rob race and what we're doing in rob race.
Is it going to work?
We're about to find out.
We're not trying to outcool anyone.
We're trying to out-nerd everyone.
Metaverse is a mixed reality racing format where you can play with data and give the right to place objects to our audience. So it's not just another motorsport thing, it's motorsport 2.0.
This is either going to be a glimpse into the future
or a spectacular failure.
Either way, you're going to want to watch.
And now let me introduce you to the opportunities that we are opening to the students, to the future students of SIT. So as I said, we are working in the side of software engineering, and the main topics that we are challenging in our competition as a team in the rob race is that all topics related to the self-driving technology, including path planning, path following, car control, perception of the car, sensor fusion, understanding of its environment, and all these topics could be developed together and advanced together with SIT students as a master students or PhD students, and we can collaborate on this in this area. And later, for example, you can do the master thesis, and then you can test your software that you developed during the master thesis in the real car and apply it and see the results. Next slide, please. Yeah, here just brief explanation what happened previously in rob race. We had 3 rounds. One of the rounds taking place in United Kingdom. The next round was in Las Vegas, and the last round in this season was also in Las Vegas. And we showed pretty good results right now. And overall, can you go please next slide? Overall, we are taking first place in the championship. And there are 3 races left in this championship. and we have quite good opportunity to continue and to win this championship, and also this season. And also, as you see, there are really good teams, and we are happy to be among these teams, such as Carnegie Mellon, MIT team. Also, there's teams from Europe, such as Autonomous Racing Graz and University di Pisa. And also, there's a car manufacturing company, such as Arrival, also participating in the road race. Next slide, please. Yeah, here I just want to sum up the opportunities that we are opening. So please start your application to an SIT Masters program, and then we can discuss how we can collaborate together, which area, which software area we would like to provide your expertise and develop your knowledge and maybe apply in the real racing environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ilya, for sharing these insights on Acronis SIT Autonomous. And first of all, congratulations to be on #1 here for the current racing. Very well done. Congratulations here. Now it's my pleasure actually to introduce two of our students, respectively our first graduates from SIT Master's Program. The first one is Daria. She graduated with a double degree from National University of Singapore on Computing Information System specialization. And she is now working at SIT Alemira, who is our education and learning management platform. SIT is developing as well. And she will talk about her studies, but also career opportunities and how she got there. So Daria, thanks for being here with us, and stage is yours.
Hi everyone, my name is Daria. I was born and raised in a small city in Russia called Stavropol. And during my last years of school, I felt strong interest of physics and math, and I was really inspired to be a scientist. So that's why I went to Department of General and Applied Physics at Moscow Institute of Physics and Technology, where I had an opportunity to work at Quantum Information Lab. But there, I started to feel lack of communication with other people and interaction with other people. That's why after my bachelor, I was looking for an area for my future development where I can do both, work with people and work on high-tech projects. So, and when I first time heard about SIT, I recognized that it's something that I need because SIT prepares students not only for hard technical positions, but also for management positions. I decided to enter SIT double degree program with NUS. And this program allowed me to develop both soft business and technical skills. I think it's quite visible from the topic of my thesis. And just after graduation, I got two offers. First one is at Acronis as AI researcher. It's technical position. And second one is product manager position at one of SIT spin-offs, Alemira. I decided to go with Alemira because I wanted something less technical, more business. Now I started to work at Alemira. We are building a digital ecosystem for learning. In other words, we're trying to bring a new perspective on learning management systems. So to conclude, I can say that SIT is not only a good place to study, but also a great step forward to your future career at high-tech projects. So I wish you good luck with admission. Should you have any other questions, you can connect with me via LinkedIn, Facebook, or any other social media. I'm always ready to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Daria. This was very helpful, I think, as well, to understand what kind of career opportunities our students have in our own ecosystem at SIT as well. Now it's my pleasure actually to move forward and ask our second student or graduate as well, Arpita, who graduated with a double degree from Carnegie Mellon University with specialization in product management, how she actually came up choosing SIT at the end and what she's doing now as she moved after her graduation directly to work for Acronis in product management. Arpita, stage is yours.
Hello everyone, I'm Arpita Ghosh and it is my absolute pleasure to address you all today. I completed a master's dual degree in product management last December with SIT. Let me share with you a little bit of my background and why I decided to go back to school. I completed my undergrad in computer science from India, post which I was hired as a software engineer by a management consulting firm based in Evanston, USA. Here, as I started working, I realized that your undergrad only forms the base. There are a lot of missing links that describes how an industry works. For example, we did study algorithms, but who really codes a quicksort in their daily life? We understand data structures, but very few of us implements heaps regularly. What are the industry benchmarks for code quality? Who are the people involved in product development and what are their responsibilities? These are things that you learn on the job. What is more is that you start looking at the big picture. You figure out what the product vision is and start working towards it. One such domain pivotal to creating the product vision itself is product management, which I was absolutely unaware of till I started working with them. These guys have the most fun job. They influence what the product is going to look like. They drive products right from conceptualization, where they study the market, find competitors, and create the product vision, to product delivery and act as a bridge between interacting domains, the customers, user experience designers, engineers, and so on. They just seem to know everything. In a couple of years, I knew I wanted that job. I wanted to own the products. Now, the big question is, how does one shift gears from being a software engineer to a product manager? There are two aspects to it. One is your personal skills. To be a product manager, you need to adjust your vision between the customers and engineers. You cannot be partial to either side. You need to develop a certain soft skill. For my ex-director always used to say that in a product manager's life, with great responsibility comes no power. You will have to convince people without having any authority on them. The second aspect is, why should a company have faith on you? Make you in charge of their precious dollars? What is your credibility? The answer to both questions, I believe, is specializing in the domain. Studying a subject in depth would help me develop the skills and also certify that I can succeed at a job. That's how I decided to pursue an MS. I believe it paid off. During the program, I worked with 3 international companies on real-world problems. SIT's association with Acronis introduced me to one of the most successful data backup and cybersecurity firms in the world. I interned with Acronis last summer, and I was absolutely impressed by the wide range of cutting-edge products they were building. They don't just follow trends, they're innovating. After the successful internship, I got a return offer from the company, and now I'm working on this really exciting customer-facing product called the Acronis True Image. The timing couldn't have been better. The product is growing and largely transforming. So I get to do the fun stuff. My role as a PM here is largely around competitive analysis, market research to start with, a skill that we practiced over and over through numerous assignments and projects during the program. Communication skills, reading your audience, presentation skills, and understanding the context are top skills that the program will polish us at. Summarizing, my agenda from the degree was to shift domains, to specialize in managing and building products, to hold the credibility, and so far it has worked very well. I hope all of you are also interested in the program, and all the best for your applications. Thank you.
Thank you, Arpita, for sharing your experience, how you came to SIT and now ending up at Acronis, which sounds like a perfect job for you and a lot of fun as well working there. It's now time for all of you who are joining us today to ask your questions, since we're moving now to the Q&A session, and we have roughly 10 minutes for your questions here. And please don't be shy, write us your question or raise your hand so we can actually have you live here as well. And I would like to start with the first question I have already seen, which goes to our Professor Bertrand Meyer. Bertrand, Anna Lee, who's interested in our program, is asking if the study is only done in Eiffel or if you're using as well other object-oriented programming as part of the study program.
Thanks, Philip, for the question. The Eiffel is used for my course, software construction, software architecture, and software engineering. Each instructor is, of course, free to use his or her tools of choice, including the programming language. So there's no standard official language, if you like, for SIT as a whole. So, I mean, the short answer is no. It's not used in all courses. It's used in some courses.
Hey, thanks very much for answering this. And then we have another very interesting question. We have Dennis actually joining us on Zoom, and he seems to be a quite experienced person already. So he actually has more than 7 years experience in software engineering, as well worked as a chief technology officer for a startup company. And he was wondering if this master's program could be something for him as well, given the huge amount of experience he already brings, or if it's something more for people who flow directly from a bachelor's program and come and start a master's program at SIT.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. So you saw the kind of positions that I mentioned for the kind of people we are training, and clearly the program is definitely aimed in part at people who already have a few years of industry experience like him, even 10 years, and who want to get prepared for the next step. So it's not just for people, as he says, which are who are just out of a bachelor's degree. We are going to have some of those, of course, but we're also we're very welcoming to people who do have a first experience. And I think part of the quality of the program comes from the fact that you have students of both kinds. You have students who are who have been students basically all their lives so far, and you just want to move to the next step. And you have people who have been students, then went to industry, and then want also to move to the next step. And there's this cross-fertilization between different backgrounds and different levels of experience.
Thanks a lot. There's a next question, Olga, for you. I think the question is actually if students can also start in the spring semester, or if our programs are always starting in fall semester only.
Yeah, so replying to this question, we're starting just in fall semester. So right now we have the admission process, and we accept applications for the fall semester, for fall 2021.
Okay, very good. And Bertrand, there's another question already for you coming in here. And it's dealing about, or the question is all about selection criteria. So what kind of selection criteria are you going to apply if you have the similar type of students? So how you select the best students, to say so, for SIT Master's Program?
We want students who will succeed at SIT, and there is no single profile. This is in fact related to the previous question. We have and want to have a diverse set of students, so we're looking for excellence. And excellence can manifest itself in various ways. So the simplest, I would say, the most standard case is having a bachelor's degree with good grades, in particular good grades in computer science and software engineering from a recognized university. But we're taking specific circumstances into account. In particular, we have students whose background is in a field other than computer science. So we understand that not everyone has chosen computer science from the start, and it can actually be a plus. Of course, it's also a minus in the sense that if you don't know, algorithms, data structures, operating systems, and all the core topics of computer science in depth, you are going to have to learn them, and you'll be at a disadvantage as compared to people who have learned this right from the beginning. On the other hand, having experience in another field like mechanical engineering, like management, or some other technical or other academic field can also be a plus. So we are looking at every case on its own. We're also taking into account industry experience. So this relates to 2 questions or 3 questions ago. Experience in industry is, in particular, some management experience as well as technical experience is a plus. And so that's really the short, in short or in summary, we're looking for excellence manifesting itself in various possible ways.
Perfect. Thanks a lot for this answer. I have one last answer here, given the time, since we are running already late here, which goes, I don't know, maybe Olga can answer, and then the second part actually would go to Ilya. It's about if you can study full-time, or if you are, if it's possible actually to do also part-time studying and do a job besides. And then the second part of the question is if you can do it part-time, if Acronis SIT Autonomous is interested in kind of part-time students in parallel to the studies, or if the team is only looking for graduates once the program has been finished to join the team there. So maybe both of you can quickly give me an answer, and yeah, thank you.
Yeah, about the full-time program. First of all, I want to highlight our master program is full-time program. So we don't recommend to work full-time for sure. If you have time to do some work part-time, that is fine. But mostly, please note that full-time program, many courses, many classes. So depends on how you can manage yourself.
Okay.
And answering to the second part of the question, so right now we are collaborating with SIT only with the students. So students can participate and test some application of their software, which students developed during the master thesis or during some other courses. So it's more like, so there is no opportunity to join our team while you're a student. So that's a short answer, but you can participate in the project, you can test and apply your algorithms in this car, in simulator. We can provide these data sets, we can provide these simulators. And also if everything's going well, we can test your algorithm on the car, but those work that you develop should be done within the part of being SIT student.
Okay, thanks a lot for this answer. And with this, I already have to close our Q&A session since, yeah, it's more than an hour now since we started. However, if you still have further questions, don't be shy and drop us an email. You see it here, master-office@sit.org. Or if you want to watch again the recording of today's session to get a better understanding of the content of this master's program or how you have to apply, you can review and see the recording again on our website. And in general, if you are interested in more information about SIT's ecosystem, what kind of courses and other offers are there, you find everything on our web page. With this, I would like to thank all of you for joining us today, being with us for this hour. I hope you learned a lot about this SIT Master's Program. And I would also like to thank all our speakers to be with us today and share their insights and the overview of the program. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and all the best with hopefully your application. Thank you.